everyone, and welcome back to the Drive Guide. So today we've got Jane with me. Jane, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. So I brought you along to the Mazda CX-9 today, and we're going to go for a short drive because I wanted to show you what the current market for three-row SUVs is like. And I invited you along specifically because I know you have owned the previous generation Honda Pilot for quite some time now.
Yes.
So I wanted to show you what it is that separates your model year and this current model year.
Okay.
And we spent a bit of time behind the wheel. What is your initial impression of the car as a whole?
Okay, so when I first took a look at it, I found it to be quite beefy, is the word I want to use.
For the exterior?
The exterior,
okay.
Yeah. Because I took a look around, and I think it was a little offsetting for me because I'm not used to seeing that much grille in the front, and the tires are 20-inch, and they were quite, large.
Yeah.
And so I also think, about the practicality of replacement for winter seasonal tires, getting them changed. Inside of the car is very comfortable. The back row seat was really well designed in regards to how it folds down, and the headrests fold down with it. With my Pilot, you have to take the headrests off, you have to store them in a separate compartment, and you never do that. You just throw them into the back of the hatch. My Honda doesn't go flat. The second row sits at an angle, so when you try to slide something in, you kind of got to go uphill and it gets caught. These ones sit down flat. I really like that. I jumped in the back row and sat in the back row. I found the seats more comfortable. They had a longer backrest, so you never get enough legroom with that third row. But if
it's reserved for the younger children.
Yes.
You don't want to put someone like me back there.
No, because that would be an awful drive for you. And I like the colors. I think it's nice how they two-tone the doors.
Oh yeah.
With the beige and the black.
And how about the materials? Do you like the feel of those materials?
Yeah, their leather is actually really soft. And the thing I would say that I probably wouldn't do if I got a car like this is I've had leather now, and it's really cold in the winter, and you stick to it in the summer.
Right.
I have the heated seats, which that is an option I would get for sure, but I would probably actually order cloth.
Okay.
That's my own personal preference. I also have animals, and cleanup wise, leather is a little bit easier, but dogs' nails and stuff, leather, you have to worry, don't slide something that's jagged on the leather seat. And with cloth, you can it's a little bit more durable.
The trim level that we're in right now, and that's the GT, so that's the second highest trim you can go for.
Okay.
If you go for the top of the line, which is called the Signature, you get some fancy wood down here, a couple of interesting color choices across the dash, and it's mostly aesthetics.
Okay.
And for the majority of people, if they want to buy the loaded package, they stop here at the GT.
Okay.
And I say that because this GT that we have with us today comes with something called the technology package.
Okay.
And that features a lot of safety equipment that buyers are very interested in today's market. The lane assist departure warning is an interesting system. So we're on the outside lane right now. Yeah. And if I just slowly edge towards the yellow line here, I get a little suggestion from the steering wheel. Okay. And it pushes me back into lane.
Okay. So but there's no beeping. It's just the steering wheel just slightly goes into. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for the radar assisted cruise control, let's say that you were going on a long distance journey and you just didn't want to get too involved with the driving, and you just wanted to stay behind your friend that's in the car in front of you, or a semi-truck, whatever it is.
Okay.
On the steering wheel here, you can set the distance of how far you maintain from the car in front of you.
Right.
And no matter what speed that car does, if it's within the cruise control limit that you've set, you will follow it. Okay. So if he speeds up, so do you. And if he slows down, so do you.
Okay, so when you change lanes, then it would just automatically go to the speed you had set. Like if you get away from the car in front of you that might be doing 82, and if you're doing 92.
Exactly.
Once you switch lanes, it's going to go back up to 90.
Just trucking my wing mirror here, if he were to just pull right in front of me and brake check me, the system would engage the second that he's actually going into the lane because he's within that distance that I set.
Right. So I think those kind of things are kind of interesting to me. I would say that it's very advanced for me, and I have a hesitation too trusting the vehicle because it is doing a lot of the thinking for me.
Okay.
And that makes me actually a little nervous.
You're not excited for the future of the autonomous vehicle then?
No,
That's
not at all.
No? Okay.
No, I don't think it would be something I'd be like, yeah, I want to try that.
Okay.
There's just something about, giving away that control. The whole point of driving.
It's a very split topic. People want it today or people never want it. And it depends. I think it all depends on if you enjoy driving or not.
So for you, wouldn't you say no to it? I would think because you enjoy driving so much.
I do enjoy driving. I do a lot of highway miles, and for me it can be very monotonous.
Okay.
So if I had the option to let go of the steering wheel and the pedals and the car would take care of everything and I could read a book, say, I would love it. But
that's interesting.
But I could never buy a fully autonomous vehicle because I do like to let loose a bit behind the wheel.
Right, and those vehicles won't allow you to do that because they have all the restrictions, right?
Exactly.
And they adhere to the rules. So it's like either I don't know, I just need to understand how it works because then I can trust the system of it. So
this car does have an all-wheel drive system that's mated to a 6-speed gearbox and a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder engine.
Okay.
So,
which is shocking.
What is?
That it's a 4-cylinder because when you look at this car, you think it's got a lot under the hood.
Okay.
Because to me, it just has a lot of masculinity to it, and I was thinking way more. Like, I have a V6, so I just assumed maybe a V8 and then like a gas guzzler, but I wasn't sure. So the fact that it's 4-cylinder is, I still can't believe it. Like, I would really like to drive it, and I know I can't, but that's really cool. That's really cool that they've been able to do that.
And with this 4-cylinder, Mazda claims that you can actually get the best-in-class fuel economy with this setup. We're currently on a stretch of road that I like to test out the handling of a car, find out its dynamics.
Okay.
And for
Should I grab these? Just in case? No,
well, I don't think we need to. But for what I want to quickly ask you before I change this car into sport mode is, how would you sum up the character of this car? Do you say it's comfortable, refined? What would you say? It's
comfortable. It's sleek. I feel more masculinity off of it than I do. It's sporty. It's actually really sporty.
Okay.
Inside, it feels sporty. It feels tight, and that's the other thing I kind of realized too. Is like, my Honda's got a big windshield, it's got big windows and all that, and so you feel more open, but you don't feel sporty ever. Like, I don't care how fast you drive that thing, you won't feel sporty in it. So it's kind of nice to have this and be able to feel sporty in it.
Well, then that's a good cue to change over to the sport system, and we do that by just hitting this button here. And
you don't have to put it in park, you don't have to do anything, you just it's going to transition.
You just drive along, and so now we can
do the corners.
We can take the corners, and you can gather your opinion.
This is a fun road in the winter too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So from the speed that we're going right now, you would say that this car is still as comfortable, or does it feel any harder to you?
No, it doesn't feel harder at all. And I love that sound.
It's
addicting.
It's a lot raspier than what it is in normal mode.
Okay.
And
but doesn't it feel like it feels good, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. And what's nice is that in the sport mode, the gears are held a lot longer.
Okay.
So instead of idling at around 2,000 RPM, you're actually idling around 3.
Okay.
And because of that, the turbo is able to spool up, or it may even be active at the set RPM. And because of that, you have a faster response like this.
Yeah. And it takes the corners really tight. A lot of SUVs, you will not get tight cornering, and you'll feel like you're tipping. So then you naturally let off, and you don't go so hard into the corner with it. Like, this feels like you're almost driving a car, which is a big deal when you're driving an SUV.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing I did notice about the interior is your park brake is like a little button. It's not an actual like lever.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird because, even with my Honda, my husband tried to do donuts with it. And it's 4-wheel drive, so of course he got a half donut out of it and then hit a snowbank and cracked my bumper. But, he had fun doing it. So I think he'd find that hilarious that all you do is flick this little button that's on the... Yeah, very interesting.
So the reason so many manufacturers are going to this is, of course, it frees up a lot of space here.
Yeah.
But also because it's a computer controlled system, if you were to drive away with the parking brake set,
okay,
it has a moment of hesitation,
yeah,
and then it actually turns it off itself. Whilst, you know, with a proper manual handbrake, you have to put it down, and you can still drive away, and yeah, you might struggle, but you can still do quite a significant amount of damage.
Yeah. We've all done it.
Yeah.
It's either a smell, or you're like going, why does my car feel so sluggish?
Yeah.
And then you damage your emergency brake.
So we're about to finish up our journey here, and of everything that you've experienced with this car, is there something that you really don't like? I know you're not so keen on the safety systems and all the computer-aided controls.
Yeah.
But is there anything about this car that
absolutely sets me off?
Yeah.
I don't love the color red.
You don't like the red?
That's a girl answer. It's a nice red.
Okay.
But I would get it in, like, if they had like a blue silver metallic, totally would pick that.
Okay.
But that's a personal thing. What else would I say that I'm not totally keen on? I think I trying to understand the system of the hand controls down here.
Yeah.
And this this constant monitor system up here. You used it quite easily. I think it would be at first a little distraction from me, because again, this is your generation. I think being able to use their hand and look somewhere else is a big deal.
Right.
So I do better if I can touch it and stuff. So I think training my mind to use the hand down here and see it change on the monitor, that would be a little bit of a hiccup for me.
So for everything that we've experienced in this car today, what do you take away from it?
Interior, it looks like the interior's like well made. It doesn't look cheap. So that's good, because I like to drive my cars into the ground, so I want to make sure the material is going to hold up. It's definitely sporty from the outside. It's got cool lights on the back that look like, I've kind of reminded me of Transformers. In a sense of how it feels like you're driving a car, but it's big and you can get enough people in here, and that's the thing, is the jumper seats. And I think the one thing I would say is that reason why SUVs are doing so well is because all of us have kids, and you know, it was hard when my husband and I bought a minivan. He really didn't want to drive a minivan, right?
Right.
So the thing is I think this is a big improvement to a minivan. It's more of a minimalist type of driving, because you're not able to store as much stuff, but you really don't need it in the end. And I think it's all around, it's a really decent vehicle. Like I would drive one. It seems really fun, actually. Like, it's something you'd feel nice going to a dinner in. Minivans, not so much.
Thank you so much for
You're
coming on a
welcome.
drive with me.
It was fun.
You have a fantastic rest of your day, Jane.
I will.